everybody, Mega Jam here. Welcome to my first scripted video, which, if you read the title, is an Octo expansion review for Splatoon 2. Sorry about my voice, I might be getting a little sick, I'm just tired, I'm not sure. Okay, so, sorry, I'll be looking down at the script for this video, so let's get started. And obviously, I promised you guys a Switch review, so here it is. The Octo expansion starts out in a train station where you can immediately tell it's going to be a lot like the trailer for it because obviously you're in a train during that. And as soon as you start, you can tell it's a lot more story oriented than the normal story mode of Splatoon 2. I'm sorry. I'm not exactly going to... This is too hard. I'm just going to read off this barely. This isn't really going to be a big spoiler thing because I don't want to spoil the story for people who haven't played it yet. I just want to give a review of how the gameplay is and what to expect when you're playing it. So there will be some giveaways as to what the things are, but I won't tell anything about the story. Big. I'll just say facts. Sorry, it's probably the wrong word. Something about the Octo expansion is you have physical menus where you can choose your level and do other things. This is different from the normal story mode because in that it was like an overworld hub where you have to go around, shoot at the ground to find these kettle pots. And that's what the levels were. You jump in through that and you get the level. Sorry. What I will say is that it's not exactly a Mega Man style game where there's all the levels immediately. Play those in any order you like. You can play them in a relatively loose order. However, they do have a train line system, which it is a train line, so that's what I'm calling it. Where each on a line you have different levels kind of placed out on that line, and each line spreads out from different to more lines, and you just, I think there are 8 of them. Don't quote me on this, but there are 8 of them, and you connect all of them, and you have all these levels that you can connect. And some of them, 4 of the lines, have one of the 4 fangs, and I'm serious, that's what they're referred to. The entire game is the 4 fangs, which creates an item, which I'm not going to say, which supposedly transports you out of the train station. Another thing in the menu, you can look at mem cakes, and mem cakes are kind of like the memories in Breath of the Wild, where you get them. They almost look like one of those pencil erasers, those novelty ones, and it has a description for what it is, and it's kind of like a poem sort of thing. You can only, however, get those if you beat the level legitimately, and I'll expand on what I mean by that shortly. And you also get access to the chat room between Pearl and Marina and Captain Cuttlefish, because Captain Cuttlefish, Pearl, and Marina are there. And they have this chat room with funny stuff, and for me even saying this, it's pretty funny at times. Just of how cringy Captain Cuttlefish is. And then like serious kind of story revealing moments of that chat, and you'll just want to be able to read that. I highly recommend. Don't skip out on it, which I don't know why you wouldn't even. And then you also get access to, basic settings and to Imagine Inkopolis, which just takes you back to the normal Inkling mode of the game. So like I've said, Pearl and Marina and Captain Cuttlefish are there. They're like your guides through the game, sort of like how Mari was in the first actual normal mode of the game. You also have a CQ card, which I'm not sure what the CQ stands for, but a credit card. And you get these things called CQ points, which is just your money, and each level costs a specific amount, and that ranges from, on the first line it's 100 up to the last line where they could be up to 300, or not 300, 300's very low for it, 3,000. Sorry, 3,000. And the bosses on each one, they're boss levels. I won't say boss fights because some of them are boss fights, some of them are just tough challenges that you have to do. And once you do that, you get access to a new line. And there could be multiple per line because it could be like a connecting between 2 or 3 even. But yeah, you get that. But when you beat a level, hopefully if you do it the first time, you'll get your money back that you spent to get into that level, plus 500, 1,000, some odd more. Sorry, I'm reading off this right now. Another thing, this game, if you're coming fresh out of the normal story mode, this game is hard. It's, in some areas, it's easy, in fact, easier than the parts. Some parts, it's way harder. And particularly some of the boss fights, they're challenging. They're very challenging. Luckily, that if you did beat the story mode, the normal story mode of Splatoon 2, you'll be okay as to what, because they're not giving any spoilers. You'll be okay. And you'll know what I mean when you arrive at that. However, if you didn't, and if you did and it's still hard anyway, Nintendo inputted an idea to combat this, which I like, but I don't like, because if you die twice, you can just pay Pearl and Marina the same amount of money it costs to get in there. They'll beat it for you by hacking into the system, pretty much. One thing, you don't get the mem cake for it. However, that's a completely optional part of the story. You don't need that to beat the Octo expansion. You can pretty much, granted you play your cards wisely, and if you just have CQ points at your disposal, you could have Pearl and Marina hack into every stage for you. And I mean literally every stage, which I'll explain in like 2 seconds. And you could beat the entire game just by doing that, which honestly gives some people, like just people who don't really care about the story and just who want to play as an Octoling, no incentive to play the game at all. You could just do that. And what I mean by any stage, it works on the final boss, and in fact, it's a lot easier to do so, because if you die once at the final boss as opposed to twice, you don't even have to pay them. Hit the button and you skip the final boss and beat the game. What were you thinking, Nintendo? That, and just to be fair, the final boss is stupid hard. It's effectively a completely vertical turf war, and that you need to go around destroying bombs. And not only that, but if you miss a bomb and you don't see it, the map for that stage is absolutely terrible. So you can just kiss your chances goodbye if you don't beat them all in a second. And also, if you're trying to jump onto a ride rail, if you're jumping off the side and you miss it just by a fraction of a second, that could be your last chance. So they made it hard, but I'd rather have, like, you pay an amount, like a large amount, and you just get another helper who will kind of half size the work, quarter size, whatever you want to do. Just a helper, but not beat the game like that. That's kind of bull. What else do I have? The final boss is really just, if you beat DJ Octavio, how easy he is. He's on the complete, or the final boss of this on the complete 3/4 of the spectrum, because Sans from Undertale is a lot harder, obviously. But honestly, from playing that, it feels like Sans walked into the room and took over the final boss, but he was only giving half effort. It's hard, nevertheless. Once you beat this, the whole story mode, you can be in Octoling and Inkopolis, and you get Octo-themed gear, which was kind of the big thing about the Octo expansion, was one of the reasons I wanted to get it. And I'll just say here, my favorite stages of the game, the Octo expansion, were by far what could be referred to as the Wily stages of the game, because there's 7 levels at the right before you beat all the main levels, but right before the final boss. So it's in between like that, and it's just from playing those levels, it transitions. It's like, honestly, you opened a new chapter in the game, which effectively you did. If you know, if you've played it, effectively you have opened a new chapter in the game. Sorry, there's no footage. I don't have that capability yet, hopefully. What was I in the middle of saying? Yeah, it's just such an experience for those levels that you honestly have to play to experience. It's not something that can be summed up by words or video. It's just something that's really cool. And then you get a challenge. Not going to say what it is. It's a pretty tough challenge. Then you get to the bullcrap final boss. And then you beat the game. It's not long. It took me 3 days to beat it. I haven't 100% of the game. Not a chance by far that I've 100% of the game. However, once you're in Inkopolis, you can just go back, play those levels. So if you want to 100% the game, you could beat the game, get all the stuff, and then go back and do stuffs that you didn't do. So it had a very high replay value. And with that Octo theme gear, I guess I'll tell you my loadout in Splatoon 2 just for fun. Oh, one more thing before that. Some of the normal levels, randomly, this took me off guard. In the background, there's like floating 3D models of GameCubes with controllers connected, Super Nintendos, NESs, old Nintendo consoles, and that just kind of blew me away. I thought it was awesome just to see that. It's a huge fan service thing. I liked it a lot. Oh, and one more thing, sorry. One of those final Wily stages, for lack of a better term, 2 or 3 of those actually, they play the music from the Octo expansion trailer, which is also a big fan service thing. And it was really cool for the first 5 minutes, then it got really annoying. It's just kind of, you were just like, okay, when can it stop? And then you beat the level and it plays again, and you're just like, but after that you get another music, and that's just kind of a nice change of pace because it's in the background. But yeah, just expect that. Now my loadout. I use an Octo brush, no view. I don't know how you say that, but it's the big Octo brush kind of thing. Hit it. It's better than the rulers and ink brushes. So if you hate on me for that, then that's my opinion. I use the Studio Octophones, which are the studio headphones, just red and Octo themed. Red and white Squid Kid 4s, which are those red and white high top shoes with some good abilities. And for the shirt body thing, I use the Neo Octo armor, which is something you get from the Octo expansion, which looks really cool. But during hockey season, I use the Inkopolis Squaps jersey. Is that how you say it? Squaps? I'm pretty sure it is. But which is obvious, it's just a San Jose Sharks and Vancouver Canucks logos combined. And I'll show a picture of it right at the end here. But about the actual Octo expansion itself, my overview, highly worth it. If you like Splatoon and Splatoon 2, this is a must get for Nintendo Switch. And it highly costs the $20 US it costs to get it. I'm MegaRolex. You know what to do. Like, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.